Hey everyone, Brian here with another video analysis. This time this game was against Mightydogg, rated 2069, and this is the final match. Let me flip the board because I'm black. This was the final match for me in this season for the league. We'll go on break for a few weeks, and then it'll start back up. But yeah, this game went pretty quick. I think it only lasted about maybe 30 minutes. He was playing rather quick. I think he had somewhere to go, even though we had scheduled this match ahead of time. He was trying to get me to play earlier, but I couldn't because I was still at work. But yeah, it was fairly interesting, and the line that we played was a line that I had been familiar with, so I knew what to do from the beginning, and we'll just kind of go over that real quick. But he opens with d4, and I jump in with my Dutch defense, and white plays knight c3, which is rather interesting. I know there's plenty of games in my database, and it seems to score pretty well, and it's been played fairly recently in master level. I think there's a game against Kamsky, and another game where Nakamura was black, and he faced this line as well. So it does have a good reputation for white, and we'll kind of go over that. But generally speaking, white usually kind of goes with f3 and c4, and kind of goes with that typical setup, and basically, prevent black from pushing e5. But with knight c3, it makes things a little bit different. He's adding control over the e4 square, and so with that in mind, I play knight f6, making my own stake on the e4 square. And here he plays bishop g5, and what he's doing here is threatening to take my knight on his next move, and possibly pushing e4 himself, which is still a good plan. It's all based upon me moving my f-pawn. Seems to be a common theme with my Dutch defense. So the only way to really counter this is to play d5 to exert more pressure on e4. So from the get-go, we have this early battle going on for the e4 square. And here he takes on f6, which damages my kingside structure. So now I have to deal with doubled f-pawns, and the correct way to take is with the e-pawn. I'm not too sure about the theory with g takes. Let me turn my engine. But yeah, it kind of gives white an automatic edge. I think the book move is to go ahead and play e4, and I'll have to look further into this, but I've never looked at g takes f6. I've always known that e takes was correct. Alright, so after e takes f6, he plays e3, and what he wants to do is place his bishop on d3 and move his queen to f3, and basically exert a lot of pressure on my weak f-pawn. And granted, I can play g6 to help defend, but overall this weakens my king side, and he could aim for moves like h4, g4, moves like that to kind of take advantage of my weakened king side. Alright, so I played bishop to e6, develop my light squared bishop. Notice this is considered a bad bishop because it's locked in with the pawns, but generally speaking, if black can free up this bishop, then he can be okay. And here I was a little caught off guard. He plays the move A3. And, you know, I had to take a look at this for a minute. He's taking control over the b4 square from my bishop, which I had no intentions of going to b4 with my bishop to pin his knight. But it does make a little bit of sense because, say if he castles, excuse me, because of my king side is so weakened and I castle queen side, he can go ahead and start an early attack on the queen side. So it's not a bad idea at all. And in fact, there's a few games in the database, master games, that actually have this A3 line. But I wanted to go back and show you a game that I played back in the summer, I think, against a guy named Quirked, and I think he's rated over 2,000. Mightydogg himself is rated over 2,000. He's 2,069. But in this exact position, after bishop to e6, in my game against Quirked, he plays bishop d3, and the game kind of continued so on. This will be relevant. I'll come back to it later. But after c6, defending my d pawn, queen f3, attacking f5 twice, defended once, so I played g6 just to reinforce. He develops his knight, I develop my knight, and here he castles queenside. And I know the general rule of thumb is, with this position, wherever white's king goes, it is best to go that way yourself. So I was following principles with this. So I played queen a5, and he takes tempo to safeguard his king. And after that, I castled queenside. And here he plays knight f4, attacking my light squared bishop. Notice it's undefended. So bishop to f7 it is. And here he plays the strange g4. I guess it's not too bad, because it does open some routes on the king side that he could probably take advantage of later on. But I think I'm pretty solid on the king side now. After pawn takes, queen takes, and f5, he plays queen f3. And here I played bishop a3. And this was the position that I wanted to show you. It's not a bad move. In fact, I don't think it's probably not the best move in the position. But it does have some tactical ideas. I felt it was right, especially if he takes on a3, then I can take his knight. Let's see. He could probably just move his knight away, but he played correctly and played knight takes d5. And then I believe in the game I took with the I took with the pawn. And then after, I can't remember exactly the lines, but this was pretty much the same setup. But what I wanted to show you was this position with bishop a3 and how it semi has a point. Probably not the best move, but there is some tactical shots in there. But here, we'll go back to the original game. So after bishop e6 and a3, I went with my general plan of just kind of making my center solid. And after bishop d3 and g6, because he's coming with queen f3 pretty soon. Let's see, queen f3. I develop my knight, knight g2. And here in this position, it's not clear which way white is going to go. And like I said, it's clear that he wants to play knight f4, in which case I'll play bishop to f7. His king can go king side, or it can go queen side. And whichever way his king goes, then I will follow along. It makes my king more safe. And in this position, for black, he's just kind of playing a waiting game. The position's pretty locked up. There's not terribly too much going on. I think the best shot for white is to, probably try to make a few things work on the king side, h3, g4, h4, and then black's best defense against that is to play h5 and just kind of keep the king side locked up and hold on to that g pawn. Black usually plays his pieces behind his pawn structure, shuffles some pieces around here and there just to see what white's going to do, and then whatever white does, black can counter against it. Alright, so after knight g2, I know that's a lot of arrows, sorry. I played bishop to d6, knight f4, bishop to f7, h4, and I didn't like the idea of him playing h5 himself. That looks quite annoying, so I decided to push my pawn instead. Now my only concern is I have a weak g pawn. I got a backwards pawn, and that kind of holds my whole structure together on my king side, so I have to be a little bit cautious here. So he castles queen side, and here you can kind of see the similarities between this game and the game that I quickly just showed you, and I'll go back and refresh it. So this was the position against Quirked. The only difference is I'm castled on the queen side. His king is on b1, and his pawn is on a2 instead of a3. So with this general idea in mind of me playing bishop to a3, I now can play it and grab a pawn, and it comes with pretty solid attacking chances. So this was my reasoning behind this queen a5 move, is because I want to play bishop takes pawn. And really the only thing white needs to do here is to play knight to b1. And if knight to b1, I would just castle queenside and go from there. But here he plays queen to g3, and he is already trying to take advantage of my weak g pawn. I figured it's not too bad of a threat, because say if it was his turn again, if he takes the pawn, I can just play rook to g8, and I have a pin on his queen, and I could win a piece. So I went ahead and played bishop takes pawn on a3, and here he takes, which I think is correct. So I took on c3. Here he plays knight takes g6, and this is a blunder by white. The correct way in order to maintain somewhat of some chance was to play knight back to e2, and then after queen takes, king to d2, and I no longer have I can't attack with just a queen, and all my pieces are way back here. Notice my rooks aren't even developed, so I can't checkmate the white king with just the queen. So yeah, black is up 2 pawns, but he is a little bit underdeveloped, and he's got a weak bishop on f7. His knight could be a little bit better. So yeah, white does have some chances, especially along this open b file, and he could also probably move his queen out of the way and push g4 or f3, get things started going on the kingside, but it isn't so easy. But after knight takes g6, he kind of puts himself in a tight situation, and this game it made the game pretty sharp. So I took his pawn on a3 with check, so he has to move his king, and I played rook to g8, pinning his knight to his queen. But this allows him to take on f5. And here it was getting a little bit tricky. I felt pretty uncomfortable with him coming to c7 with his queen. That just looks like a really big threat to me. So I played queen to b4 check with the intentions of coming back to defend these squares. Also have to be worried about d6 on his queen. So there's a lot of stuff that I have to be concerned with. However, after some analysis, knight to f8 still keeps everything under control. Well, because you see, I was thinking after queen to c7, I could still play queen to b4 check, and after king to e2, I can just take the knight and win the knight. But then he has a nice little trick here where he can play bishop to c8 and try to checkmate me that way. So the only thing I could really do was take here, queen takes, and then go somewhere with my king, maybe f7 or e7, wherever. But yeah, this is actually pretty good for me. I have two minor pieces and two pawns for the rook, so I'm still in great shape here. I just have a very loose king, and his rooks are going to be coming into play pretty quick. So yeah, this could probably be analyzed a little bit further, but I think black is still pretty well off here. But after queen to b4 check, he plays king to e2, and now I played knight f8. And there's no real way to save the knight. The only difference is now that I waited to play knight f8 is that white gains some counterplay by playing rook to b1, attacking my queen. So now he's gained a tempo. So I naturally played queen to a5. This defends any stuff that might happen on c7 and d6. For instance, if he plays queen to d6 now, then after bishop takes, queen takes, then I can just bring my queen back to defend. So I have a lot of pieces defending my open king. And I think black is still better here, despite the king being so exposed. But I think everything holds pretty well after bishop takes, rook takes, queen to e5, queen to e7. Rook takes looks pretty bad for black, but after takes, and a5, kind of getting the a pawn rolling, it's not so clear. But black is up a piece. White does have has an active rook here on the second rank. So yeah, so it does look pretty interesting here. So I played queen to a5, and here he plays rook takes b7. Yeah, rook takes b7, and now I get to play queen to a6 check. And this is where white resigned. And it's not so clear because it's really hard to evaluate, because black's king is so loose. Even though black has the material edge, there's a lot of open holes and just void surrounding the king, so that like one mistake would literally cost black the game. But here he did resign. Like I said, I think he had somewhere to go. But let's look at the line of what would probably transpose if play kept going. So here white could play c4. And this is actually an interesting move, because if black takes on c4 with check and the king goes to f3, what is black going to do to prevent the queen from coming to d6 or c7? The queen has left the defense of its own king. So that would be very unfortunate in turn of events. For instance, let's say after knight takes g6, queen d6. And I knew that this line was bad. After computer analysis, it just kind of showed me how bad it was. So I'm glad I avoided this situation. And the computer is saying mate in 7, by the way, but we won't go through all that. Okay, so let's go back. What is black's main option? Black's main option is take the rook. It's a free gift, right? Take the rook. But after rook to b1, there's a few things that black can do, and that's to take the rook onto b1. It sounds silly to give up your queen, but it totally makes sense. You're getting two rooks and a piece for the queen. For instance, after bishop takes queen, knight takes g6. The only thing that black really needs to do is find somewhere to place his king where it will be reasonably safe, and activate and coordinate his minor square pieces. And black could probably have some counterplay with the a pawn. So there is that. I think also another line that we looked at was after rook to b1, after rook takes, bishop takes, I could play queen to c8. Excuse me. Queen to c8. That was queen to c7. Queen to c7 would be bad. And black is, yeah, black keeps his queen and material, he's up. So things are looking pretty good here as well. I think I like this line better than giving up the queen, just because I still would have to develop and get my pieces coordinated. So yeah, after queen to a6 check, white resigned, which play could have gone on for a little bit longer. Like I said, things happen, and you know, some things are out of control. But it was a pretty interesting game. It was pretty quick. I think both of us played pretty quickly. I think I took the longest thinks on. My longest think was on queen a6, I do believe, just because I wasn't too sure what to do after rook to b1. So yeah, there you go. That's the end of this game, and that was the final game of the season. And I ended up losing one game, which was the first match, and I drew the second match, and all the rest of them were victories for me. So yeah, it was a good tournament for me. It was a lot of fun, and hopefully I can have enough time to re-up and take part in the next season, which will probably start in a few weeks. But yeah, I'll try to analyze a few of my other games that we had, that I had over the season. So yeah, if you want to play, come check it out. It's free and open source if you're a computer guy and know coding and stuff like that. But yeah, it's lichess.org, and the league is just called the Lichess 45+45.com. Alright, thanks for watching.